Hey, welcome. Have you ever felt like you're playing some massive, complicated game, but nobody ever gave you the rulebook? Well, today we're going to talk about the idea that our reality actually has a source code, a set of deep, fundamental principles that run everything. And you know what? Understanding them, that might just be the key to leveling up your entire life.
So let's just dive right in with this. And I want you to really think about it. What if your life wasn't just a series of random events? What if it was more like a simulation, and you just stumbled upon the source code, the very instructions that build your reality, a system that, once you understand it, you can start to navigate consciously?
Okay, so let's start with where we are right now, what you could call our 4D journey, right? You've got the three dimensions of space, length, width, height, and then you have time. That's the fourth. Now here's the interesting part. Every single choice you make, from what you eat for breakfast to who you fall in love with, is like a cosmic data point. Your soul is basically gathering information, like a character collecting experience points in a game. Every single choice, every path you take is creating a new branch and teaching you something new.
But what about the times we mess up, the choices we wish we could take back? Well, in this way of looking at things, they're not failures at all. Think of them as restore points. You know, in a video game when you hit a tough spot and have to start over? Those points are invaluable. They teach you exactly where you went wrong, what strategy didn't work, so you can come back stronger. They are absolutely essential for real growth. So, if we're constantly gathering all this data, what are we growing towards?
Well, the whole point of the game is evolution. It's about taking all that data, all those restore points and lessons, and using them to graduate to the next level of consciousness. And that next level is what we can call the 5D framework. Now, this isn't some place you go to. It's a completely different state of being. It's like upgrading your entire operating system.
And this is where it gets really interesting when you compare the two. Here in 4D, we learn through karma, which is really just cause and effect playing out over a long stretch of time. You do something, and the result might not show up for weeks, months, or even years. But in 5D consciousness, creation is instantaneous. The moment you align your thoughts and feelings, it begins to manifest. The whole system runs on these high-frequency emotions, like pure love and joy. Time itself becomes way more flexible.
So, the big question is, how do we master this current game to unlock that next level? Well, believe it or not, the cheat codes, or maybe more accurately, the universe's source code, have been around for thousands of years. They're known as the 7 Hermetic principles, and they are the fundamental mechanics of, well, everything. And it all starts with this one, the absolute foundation, the principle of mentalism. All is mind, the universe is mental. What this means is that everything you see, touch, and experience first began as a thought. The entire universe is, in essence, a mental creation. This is the master key, because it means your mind isn't just a bystander watching the world go by. It's the primary creative force in your life.
So here's the whole toolkit, right here. The 7 core mechanics of how reality gets built. We just talked about mentalism, that your thought is creation. But look at the others. Correspondence, which we'll get into, is all about how your inner world creates your outer world. Vibration, the idea that everything is just energy. Each one of these is a different piece of the puzzle, a different line of code you can learn to use. Let's build on that with the second principle, correspondence. You've probably heard the phrase, as above, so below. It basically means your personal reality is a mirror, a tiny fractal of the entire cosmos. So if your inner world is full of stress, chaos, and fear, what do you think your outer world is going to look like? Your job, your relationships, they'll reflect that chaos right back at you. The lesson here is powerful. To change the world outside, you have to start by mastering the world inside.
All right, next up is vibration. And this isn't just spiritual woo-woo. Modern physics tells us the exact same thing. At the quantum level, nothing is solid. Everything, this table, the air you're breathing, your thoughts, is all just energy vibrating at different frequencies. And here's the important part for us. Your emotions are incredibly powerful frequencies. Fear, anger, guilt, they vibrate at a very low, dense frequency. But joy, gratitude, love, they vibrate at a high, fast, light frequency. The work of evolving to 5D is literally the work of consciously choosing thoughts and actions that raise your personal frequency.
Now this one can bend your mind a little bit. The principle of polarity tells us that opposites are actually an illusion. Hate isn't the opposite of love. It's just the other end of the very same spectrum. Dark is just the absence of light. Cold is the absence of heat. They're all two ends of the same stick. The key to mastering this is to stop getting thrown back and forth between the extremes and instead learn to find the calm, neutral center.
When you can do that, you're no longer a victim of life's crazy emotional swings. You get your power back.
And that leads perfectly into rhythm. This one is all about cycles. Just like the tides go in and out, just like the seasons change, everything in your life ebbs and flows. You'll have high points in your career and low points, times of incredible closeness in a relationship and times of distance. Understanding this brings so much peace, because when you're in a downswing, you don't panic. You know the pendulum is guaranteed to swing back. You just learn to ride the waves.
Okay, now for the engine that drives it all, the principle of cause and effect. This is the unbreakable law that says nothing, and I mean nothing, is random. Every single thing in your life, every success, every failure, every challenge has a cause. And that cause was set into motion, at some level, by you, by your thoughts, your beliefs, your actions. Moving into a 5D consciousness is all about shifting from feeling like a victim of your circumstances to taking 100% ownership of the fact that you are the primary cause in your life.
And finally, we have the principle of gender. Now let's be super clear. This has zero to do with physical bodies or social roles. This is about the two universal energies needed for any creation to happen. You have the masculine energy. That's the doing, the action, the pushing forward. And then you have the feminine energy. That's the being, the receiving, the nurturing of an idea. You can have the greatest idea in the world, but without both of those energies in balance, it's never going to become a reality.
So you see what happens here. When you start to understand and put all 7 of these principles together, you stop being a character that's just reacting to the game. You become a conscious player, a co-creator of your reality. You're actually applying the code.
And here's a look at the potential roadmap. Most of us are right here, in 4D, gathering that data, integrating our lessons. The very next step is 5D, where we start using these principles to consciously build our lives. And it doesn't even stop there. Consciousness can keep expanding into the 6th dimension, where you can perceive all possible timelines at once, and even into the 7th, which is a state of pure unity with Source, with all that is.
So what's the big takeaway for you, right here, right now? It's this. First, all your experiences, good and bad, are incredibly valuable data. Stop judging them. Second, these 7 principles aren't just some ancient philosophy. They are the literal rules of the game you are playing every single day. Third, you have the power, in any moment, to consciously raise your emotional vibration. And finally, and most importantly, you have to accept it, you are the primary creator of your reality.
And that brings us to the end game. This knowledge isn't meant to just sit in your head as some cool cosmic trivia. It's a practical toolkit. The source code is right here, in your hands. Your reality is literally yours to write.
So I'm going to leave you with this question. Just take a look at your life right now. The things you want to change, the things you want to create from scratch. Which one of these 7 principles, if you decided to focus on it starting today, would be the biggest game changer for you? The choice and all the power that comes with it is yours.